want to just get straight to the point because determining on how this case actually turns out, despite it being a misdemeanor, I could potentially be serving, I think on the last offer, around 38 days of jail, God forbid. I was arrested in 2024. I believe the exact date was October 24, when I was out there recording a YouTube video allegedly, well, not alleged, but I was planning on showing y'all at the time of how I firearm train, especially since I had a new caliber gun, because previously I only stuck to 380, which now when looking back at it, although it did give me the accuracy, I do feel like, it's still worth the purchase. It was extremely costly, but at least it didn't have to lead to me doing too much training. But I was arrested on a charge of reckless conduct, and I honestly don't even know specifically as to why, because the police report falsely accused me of shooting a firearm into the air despite me being able to record myself. I'm not really understanding how it even managed to get to this point, but hey, I'll go a little bit more into the story. When I first came out, I knew it was early in the morning. It was my only off day of the week because these people were using me just about every day, even sometimes writing my name into the empty free space. And at the time, I needed the money, but I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna ignore them, do something a little bit productive first. Go on my YouTube channel, go out into the woods, set up some targets, and see what I can do. But in the middle of me doing that, someone had walked past me at first from another nearby apartment complex into mine. I didn't think anything of it despite his presentation. A nigga wearing a ski mask and a Nike suit tech, like, what the fuck, that's like half of, like, motherfuckers under 18 that look like, he fit the stereotypical hood description. One was a dreadhead, one had a seemingly nappy twist. Typical, stereotypical online YN, so to speak, right? First time they walked past, I stopped, let them walk past, don't shoot. They seemingly didn't notice me. And now, after doing all that shooting, I think I finally managed to stop. I think I was already done recording training. I want to just explain and go over a couple drills and tell them basically what did I do on camera. And next thing you know, I'm randomly ducking mid-video as I hear shots go off behind me, ready to shoot. Because at this point, I'm thinking I'm out here alone. I didn't even hear these people out walk around my area, despite me hearing them earlier. With shots going off at the time, I was able to hear their footsteps, and they were seemingly, if I had to say, I guess anywhere between 30 to 50 yards away. I know I was a little bit further out. Yeah, because I don't want them to have a false belief that, I was anywhere to 30 yards to 50 yards away to my actual apartment complex. I was a little bit further out. I'd prefer to be a little bit safer than sorry. But the second time while these dudes were walking back, they seemingly start to go diagonally versus horizontally through the woods. That's part of the cut that a lot of people take when they go through the gas station. From my apartment complex at the time to a nearby apartment complex. I know we all have an apartment complex or have heard of a place where there's a shortcut, a hole in the fence, a cut in the woods. Anybody who's walking or don't have a car, I'm sure you're somewhat familiar or haven't been privileged. As these people are letting off shots, I visibly see them pointing towards seemingly the last apartment building in my apartment complex when I was on Snap. For some odd reason, though, I stayed longer than what I should have. I should have ran right off the bat, but I wanted to wait. I think I let them go all the way through the woods as he was still consistently shooting at something I couldn't see, and I was going to count to 120. And then after that, I think on the way back up, I hear these people walking back towards me, oddly enough, for some odd fucking reason. Even as a YN and people with bloodlust, walking directly into gunfire, in my opinion, don't make you bulletproof. So I didn't get this dude's logic. He asked me some stupid-ass bullshit after I caught him from a crouch position. He probably just seeing that I was probably a little bit prepared. I think my firearm was visible on my right side to him, and I immediately called him out. I was like, yo, he get close enough, I'm just gonna call him out, and we gonna do what we gonna do. I'm like, yo, what the hell you doing? He was like, yeah, he looked shot, and just the fact that I was already watching him and shit. He looked around, I believe, for, a couple seconds before he was even able to peep out that I was looking at him the whole time. Sounds funny and make me sound like a sniper in a ghillie suit, so to speak. But either way, he asked me something stupid such as, such and such. I don't know who the fuck he was referring to, or you such and such ops. I'm like, nah, nigga, what the fuck? I'm out here recording a YouTube video. He was like, oh, okay, we just wanted to see who's out there doing all that shooting. But then these niggas turn around, and I watch them go all the way back, and just to confirm before I actually decide to go shooting. And then I stop again, and then I start all over and count to 120, because I was like, okay, if I'm going back there and trying to rush into work and get these extra hours I need, even though they're calling me on an off day, and wrote in and fill in the blank, the building now, I think about it, sort of played into my downfall. If I wasn't bothered, I probably would have went a different route on to the gas station. No, not even onto the gas station. I think I was going to head to Dollar Tree afterwards to get me some more groceries, besides going up there and, spending some more money or whatever the fuck. And I got stopped on the way back out after walking back into my apartment complex, just attempting to go home. I see the police officer at first. Like, he drives around the building, and then I walk to the front, and he sits there pretty much until I walk past him. At this point, I'm thinking, I didn't do nothing wrong. What the fuck you gonna get me for? He stopped, seemed like, sir, do you mind turning around or putting your back against your... Yeah, I think you said putting your back against the door or something like that of the sort. Despite me having a firearm on my arm, I'm lucky, he wasn't just quick to grab or clutch his firearm, but, I comply. I'm like, yo, okay, what the fuck is going on? I think I said the word specifically, like, yo, what is going on? And I think he told me to wait, and then a couple more officers came. I don't know why 3-4 cars came for me, even though they couldn't even confirm who I was, but 3-4 cars came up. And he asked me, oh, yeah, tell the truth, and it's a story. I'm like, yo, I'm just out here trying to record a YouTube video. If you trying to find niggas that out here did some shit like that, you go after them niggas. Because them niggas clearly just got away scot-free. They went through the cut in the woods, and I pointed in that direction. Ooh. Even after explaining to them the full story, the only part that I feel like they'd be hesitant to believe is the dumb ones, such as, that somebody actually shot in the direction of someone from the apartment building. But yeah, fast forward, I even tell them that I have proof. I believe that it said, like, yo, I have a date and time and times that I actually recorded myself, shooting. You pretty much can't tell where I am in the footage, which probably also didn't help, because shit, maybe it could help that it could at least confirm that I'm extremely far enough into the woods. But they didn't look that deep either. And one cop actually went over to the cut, but he just peeped his head in. I'm visibly watching him the whole time. And most of this is going on while I'm in the back seat after I already getting questioned. After sitting in the back seat for about 40 minutes, these people pull off. They don't even tell me too much. I just see them as they go around the corner, put the rest of my gear into the back trunk of the car. I was just like, yo, please don't steal my shit, man, because I know these motherfuckers do not run. They don't like to give back anything that they take off you once they arrest you. I understand the firearm, but at least not my $1,700 worth of gear, of equipment. Thank God I didn't bring my mini laptop with me at the time, but hey, here we are. Anyways, it wasn't until they escorted me as they're walking me into the jail that they said I was hit with reckless conduct. Now, that was just the corniest shit to me also. While I'm also there, I think I made about 4 calls going back and forth, pretty much just trying to explain, like, the fuck is going on? Y'all got the wrong person. I wasn't really too worried. I just didn't like the fact that I was simply going to jail over something I felt like I didn't do. I know I didn't do too much. I know the reckless conduct charge was a misdemeanor, and it was my first offense. I knew I wasn't going to be in there long, but still, I didn't like jail. Just for the rest of the video, you can stop right here if you don't want to hear about my experience in jail. As I go in, I think it was probably in the span of 3 to 4 hours before I was actually being able to go to my cell. I had to take a little piss test, say if you do and don't do drugs. And boy, at first when you come in, it's just a stereotypical person, just all quiet. You might see one weirdo with tattoos. I didn't like a nigga that looked like that. I'm just like, yo, what you here in charge with? It's me and 2-3 other white guys. Sorry, they sound vulgar, but we're just having casual conversations like, what the hell are we doing in here? I'm also one of those people. I didn't have no plan of going in there, sounding tough and all that in any way, shape, or form. And hey, it sort of just is what it is in that regard. But I'd say after, they get us suited up, and I call, I think, mom, dad, sister while I was in there, and they get us into the room. For those of y'all who don't know, I have epilepsy, so I didn't really have to go in there with a whole bunch of loud people. I think it was around 10 people max in there, just due to us having conditions. They separate us from normal people. To my knowledge, that's how it was explained to me. I think I was on the first floor, and boy, even though it was 3-4 days, I just felt like the isolation part could really get to you, and not really knowing when you're going to get out. Really just the mental pressure, and just the fact that you're in here with people who sort of insane. Like, I think I'm hearing 24/7 this dude going random spouts of yelling, in the middle of the night. And he was you just hear him jumping up and down, like screaming to the top of his lungs, probably at times for hours, and destroying his own room. And to my knowledge, he couldn't communicate properly either, even though he could understand. But hey, here we are. Most people in there was quiet. It was little to no conversation overall for the most part. I think I was only able to speak to one dude. He was also a book reader. He also had epilepsy. And the whole time, these people didn't pass my medicine. I'm like, God damn. Sometimes I'd be surprised, even after like a certain amount of period, that, if a seizure doesn't happen when I don't have my medicine, or at least that's something that I end up worrying about. Just to come out on I'll say the second day, as we get quickly brought to trial, luckily enough that, somebody who I had to go to, I don't even know what to call it. I'm going to just call it I think it was a pre-court, a trial hearing, or a hearing, one of those three. But, you pretty much get told to stand up, what charge are you responsible for, and if they're going to give you a bond or not. And, sometimes it could be dependent on whether you have other things going on. And I know somebody in there, to my knowledge, got hit with something a little bit harsher. While I'm in there, too, while we're sitting there waiting here, and I'm just sitting here with random people, just about everyone was either quiet, or the younger people were more mean-mugging, sort of acting as if this was the stereotypical judge, regardless of how small they were. And it was a lot of people, too, that was just overall just bragging about murder and what they did and didn't do. I don't know. I ain't really give a fuck. That wasn't my point. I just wanted to make jokes and shit like that and get the fuck in and out. But hey, here we are. I think one case that got me, I think it was a 16 or 17-year-old who was on there for attempted murder and a firearms charge. But you never know the fuck you're gonna come in there too. And it turns out this little white funny guy that I was with the whole time, once again, excuse me being vulgar towards the language, he was allegedly in there for stalking with a knife. Allegedly, according to them, he was potentially looking at some time, and I also, to my knowledge, wasn't granted bail either. But here we are. Once again, you never know who the fuck you're gonna be in there with. I think around my third day, that was probably the only time I was gonna have a confrontation. Somebody was gonna be like, yo, that was my room first. Like, nigga, I don't give a fuck what was your room first. If them niggas moved you and move you back and someone else is in there, you don't tell me to move my shit or move my shit. Like, nigga, you move. Like, that ain't got shit to do with me. You don't own no room in here. Go find you another room, nigga. And I was like, at first, I'm like, if you could find me a clean or a better room, I'll do that. And he did. I think it just went down to like the very last one, or it just waited to have the last door open. And then I think I was just going to give me some calls, and I was just going to move all my stuff. And it was just like, shit, I don't really care that much. I ain't trying to fight you and no shit like that. I ain't say that, but, I'm not really in here for no problems for real. Like, once again, I'm only in here for a misdemeanor. I don't need these motherfuckers holding me or trying to get on me or, do anything to potentially make me stay in here any longer. So luckily, when I think around the time I was either going to sleep or woke up, it was the next day at least. I think it was around 6, 7 after they did my trial. Luckily, I still had money in my bank account. Got back home. Next thing you know, shit, it is what it is. Got to stay home and off and try to give me some peace and shit. I think it wasn't until around almost a 2-year cycle that I had to sit here and wait for damn near even a court date, or just to see if I was gonna go plead guilty or not. And then not only that, after almost waiting 2 years, this upcoming calendar date in the 6th of February, we might have to push it because to my knowledge as of now, we haven't made a discovery or overall just being able to see all the evidence that we'll be able to be fighting against. But I'll keep y'all updated on how this go because it's pretty confusing to me too.